Good morning and welcome to Literary Address in 10 Minutes or Less. I am your host, Rebecca Conway, and in today's show, we will be highlighting the book The 9 Rights of Every Writer by Vicki Spandel. So, to keep this short, sweet, and to the point as always, here we go. 9 Rights is a book involving Spandel along with 9 established writers in the field of teaching, writing, and publication as they journey together through the inherent rights that each writer ought to be allowed. At times intensely personal, it is also a book that is reflective, thoughtful, and will make writers and teachers of writing stand up and consider the transformative capabilities these rights present both in and outside the classroom. In today's podcast, we will discuss each unique chapter individually. Chapter 1, The Right to be Reflective. Something the standardized tests seem to be lacking in. Try to get a place where you can let go of the busy and really get to thinking. As Spandel would say, a mind freed is a powerful thing on page 3. If we as writers are given the opportunity to reflect, look back on writing, review things, and more, we can take harness of the freedom to write and roll with it. Chapter 2, The Right to Choose a Personally Important Topic. Here's that freedom thing again. If we want to see ourselves in our writing, we must have the freedom to choose personally relevant topics that reflect the breakups and shakeups, arguments and makeups, and everything in between that happens in our lives. Spandel addresses the idea that the notion that we might read student work to learn something or appreciate the voice or the language never occurs to so many of the students, on page 21, which makes it all the more pressing for choosing personally important topics to become a piece of the writing stratosphere. Chapter 3. The right to go off topic. Regarding assessment, Spandel is quick to point out that in a large-scale assessment, because a single prompt must be suitable to so many writers, we do not ask questions for which we are really, truly, deeply interested in the answer, on page 32. Avoid this. Let your students get messy with topic. Let them be explorers. Creativity is a terrible thing to waste, and some of the best work comes from the tangents we let our minds run off on. Chapter 4. The Right to Personalize the Writing Process. You know those bath towels that newlyweds get with the monogram right on it? Let's think about writing like that, tailor-made. If we are going to expect good writing, we have to provide the right conditions. Don't like to write at your desk? Make way on the floor. Can't seem to get into a piece that you are writing? Step away from it. For 5 minutes, an hour, forever. When we read, we do the same thing. No matter how much we know or think we know about writing, there is much that writers must teach themselves simply by doing it, as Spandel says on page 45. Let the writer make it his or her own, and then step away for a bit and let them go. Chapter 5. The Right to Write Badly. I will not write badly. I will not write badly. Etched into the brains of so many former students and, for that matter, blackboards across the country. However, we really have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of poorly crafted haikus. In the words of Spandel, that's just how writing is. In order to write well, you need to create a lot of garbage to get at the heart of it, the real message, the thing you want most to say, the voice that really is you. Write a Cornwell piece. Write something untrue. Write something you would never want anyone to ever read. Eventually you will find your heart and you will find your voice, and then all of that garbage doesn't look so trashy anymore. Chapter 6. The Right to See Others Write. Model, talk, think aloud, cross out, edit, hate something. Do it all, and do it so that other writers can see the process. Allow yourself to view other writers write as well. In this chapter, Spandel really encourages us to build a sense of community through our viewing and sharing of writing, as she says that seeing how other people go about it helps us visualize process in our minds, reassures us that we are not alone on days we struggle, and raises possibilities, things to try that we might not think of otherwise, on page 79. So, raise your pen for another and allow someone to do the same for you. You won't regret it. Chapter 7. The Right to be Assessed Well. Quite possibly the best word ever invented comes straight from this very book. Collaboraphobia. The irrational fear that human contact of any kind is tantamount to cheating, as Spandel says on page 99. We collaborate on everything else in our lives, what to make for dinner, what TV show to choose, what station to play on the radio. Working together is a form of collaborative work, and yet we are not assessed that way. As a writer, you reserve the right to be assessed based on the adaptations, needs, desires, and reflections of your own experiences. You have the right to be assessed based on power of voice rather than punctuation, the might of emotion rather than mechanics. Chapter 8. The Right to Go Beyond Formula. Half the fun is the unknown. In writing, Spandau would say that when it comes to writing, surprise is not only something we should tolerate, but something we should seek out and treasure, on page 115. It is okay to not have a step-by-step plan. Heck, sometimes it is okay to not really have a plan at all. What is okay is to go off the beaten path and step onto the edge of the cliff. It is hard for us to think, but it is that unreliable nature that non-formulaic writing provides that can be so exciting and invigorating. Writing is not one size fits all, and formulas in mathematical equations are made to give us one answer. Are you seeing the connection? 1 + 1 can equal a Mercedes-Benz if you want it to. Just ask Natalie Goldberg. Chapter 9. The Right to Find Your Own Voice. We've got to work together on this one, folks. If you don't believe me, listen to my friend Vicky. Spandau urges us to believe that all writers have voice. Not all writers know it, though. As a result, not all writers express their voice. Sometimes this is because they are afraid it will not be well received, or they simply do not believe the voice is in there. We must help them believe, she says on page 133. As we collaborate and get to know other writers, we begin to recognize that voice, and it is through these types of collaboration that we are able to help bring out that voice. Each and every one of us has a unique voice, and that is something to celebrate. To pick up a copy of Spandau's book, The 9 Rights of Every Writer, available from Heinemann Publishers, please go to their website at www.heinemann.com today. This has been Literary Address in 10 Minutes or Less. I'm Rebecca Conway. Please join us next week as I help guide you through why digital writing matters. Happy writing!